MZTV.
What happened to my watch? Did I leave it in South Carolina? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since I got back. I got my thingy here, but I don't have my watch. Well, that's okay. It's been stuck on the same time since. I'm not getting my watch, the one you see me wearing on occasion. It's been stopped since 2013. I'm just styling with it. I'm not telling time. But it's right twice a day. This is Martin Zender. Welcome to another edition of MZTV. I'm going to tell you, yep, there's the beam of glory. There it is. The beam of glory. I don't want it to disrupt you, so I can't do this the whole time, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to block the beam of glory so you're not intimidated. Yeah, I don't want you to be intimidated. I'm going to tell you today, some people ask me, like, why is your kitchen so messy? Can't you have the decency of straightening up? And look, you have trash coming out of your trash can. Well, of course I could do that. And whenever I have guests over here, I do clean up nicely. And my drawer is broken, that's right. But Juliana, yeah, the thing snapped. Yeah, but Juliana knows a guy at her other property that's going to fix that soon. So going to get it together here. This is the real me. That's all there is to it. That's a multivitamin right there. And that's my little coffee maker right there. And that's a Bugani boombox. It's pretty good if you want to jam. Now, I'm going to tell you today how to teach the gospel to your kids. And I want to tell you that you must teach the gospel, the evangel to your kids. How old does your child have to be before you can teach the evangel, the gospel of Paul, to them? Well, it depends, of course. There's no certain age. There's no age of accountability. I made 2 shows on that before. Very early. I mean, I'm thinking even 2 years old, because I'm going to give you a simple step-by-step way to teach your kids the evangel and to give them the information leading to Aeonian life. And I must tell you, the first thing you must understand is this is your responsibility as a parent. It doesn't matter which parent does it, the mother, the father, but it's your responsibility. The last thing you want to do is send your kids to a Christian Bible camp or send them to some kind of Christian preschool, because they will screw with their heads there. Yeah, and they'll come out believing in eternal torment, free will, and the Trinity, the whole thing. On the beam of glory, it's comforting to know that it's there when I need it. So it's your responsibility. People have asked me over the years, Martin, why don't we have books for kids? I hear you. I hear you. About 15 years ago, I tried to make this happen. I put out the call for somebody to write a simple book and for somebody to illustrate it. Could be the same person, but probably a different person writing it, different person illustrating it. There were a couple people interested, but nothing ever panned out. I'm going to put the call out today, right now. If you are inclined to write a simple book for kids about what I'm about to tell you, dealing with these basics, then say something. If you see something, say something. And we'll hook you up with an illustrator. And I'm vice president of a publishing company, so we can make this happen. My sister's the president. I didn't want that responsibility. I just put it on her. Now she's going crazy because she's the president. But see? Clever. I would love to have books for kids. Just one. One book would be fine, really. One book will do it, I think. So let's do it. Now, to introduce the gospel, you can't start with sin. It's too abstract of a concept, because how are you going to start that? Well, you make mistakes, right? You missed the mark, and Jesus Christ died for your sins. It's just too abstract because it's something that happens every day. This is where you start, and this is what Jesus Christ basically died for. Sin is a byproduct of his death on the cross in order to eliminate death. Death is the number one enemy of humanity. It is death that entered into humanity at the sin of the first couple in the Garden of Eden, and it is death that has passed through to all humanity, on which all sin. Romans 5:12. So we don't sin. I should say we don't die because we're sinners. We sin because we're dying. If you eliminate mortality, then you don't even need to add the fact that you eliminate sin, because if you eliminate mortality, you've eliminated sin. I'm speaking of the human race now. So when Christ abolishes death in 1 Corinthians 15:26, it is inevitable that sin is abolished at that time. He doesn't need to say. It's like, Martin, why doesn't he say that he eliminates sin? You don't need to if you eliminate death. Death is the petri dish where sin grows, as I like to say. So, take your kids to a funeral. If nobody in your family has the decency to die for this purpose, then take them to a stranger's funeral. Show them the dead body. You know, I'm not even kidding, really. If your child has been to a funeral, then you need to talk about that. You need to talk about death. And it is very important for them to realize that death is the absence of life. This is a very simple concept. Uncle Bob is dead. See Uncle Bob? He's not moving. He looks terrible. He's about to go into the ground. Uncle Bob is dead. And then point out the verse. Jesus said death is like sleeping. Uncle Bob is not alive somewhere else. Uncle Bob is not looking down on you. Uncle Bob is not worried about your college prospects. Uncle Bob knows nothing. It's possible that he knew nothing in life also, but that's irrelevant. The dead do not know anything. Ecclesiastes chapter 9. So, emphasize that death is death. And this is important when we come to the death of Christ, as you know, because the Trinity and modalism are tripwires. Satan has put in front of the major foundational block of the gospel, which is the death of Christ. I'm going to get to the next part, the death of Christ for sin, in a second. But death is the simplest thing. And it really takes a wily enemy to F it up. But Satan has done it, so people don't even know what death is. And there's no excuse because the scripture is loaded with information about what death is. It's the absence of life. The dead do not live until the 1,000 years are finished. Dead people do not live. In case you don't realize that dead people don't live, God is going to actually say it. The dead do not live. It's like a redundancy. The word dead should take care of it, but it doesn't. So God, being careful and helpful about our debility, our mental debilities in this day and age, says the dead do not live. So hammer that into your kids. It's going to be sad, but they have to know this, and they can grasp it at age 2. Uncle Bob's not moving. Uncle Bob's dead. At age 2, they can get it. They can get it. And now we get to Jesus Christ. You need to get a children's Bible and read to them the account of the Passion of Christ. That has power. The Passion of Christ has power. And your child will ask, why did that good man, why did the Son of God have to die so horrible a death? Well, because Jesus Christ rescued everyone from that terrible thing. You mean death? Yes, death. Jesus Christ rescued everyone from death. Now, don't get into the absolute. Don't tell your child at this point, well, see, God purposely brought sin and death into the universe. Romans 8:20, the creation was subjected to vanity not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected it in expectation. Don't go absolute. Don't go absolute that all is of God or that God created evil, or that just don't do it. You can do it later when they turn 3. That you can do it. But just concentrate on death, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the only one. Say that phrase. He is the only one, because he was the Son of God who could conquer death. He was the only one. And Jesus Christ gave up his life as a gift from God to bring everyone out, eventually to bring everyone out from the dead. Then you go to the Lazarus story. And the account. You read how Lazarus came out from the dead. They'll love that. That's an exciting story. I love that. It's great. Show them that death is not a problem. That Jesus Christ said, Lazarus, come forth, and the guy came out of the tomb. The kids' Bible books ought to have pretty cool illustrations there. He's all wrapped up, and he comes out, and they unwrap him like a mummy, and then they make lunch for him, and then they give him the funeral bill because, yeah. If I was Mary and Martha, his sisters, I would say, we're glad to have you back, but we're not paying for another funeral, dude. But he had another one later. 2 funerals. Not everybody has 2 funerals, I can tell you this. Not everyone has 2 funerals. Lazarus did. Read other accounts of a resurrection. It's the power of God. Tell your children the power of God to resurrect people. Well, why did Jesus have to die? That's a tricky one. Yeah, that's a tough one. Well, it was the only way. This is the simple answer. You don't have to know the technicalities. I'm not sure I even know the technicalities. It was the only way to rescue every single person from death. The only way. Jesus Christ had to die. And when he raised from the dead, see, you got to go to the resurrection. I told you to read about the passion of Christ, those terrible things he went through. Yes, do it. They're ready for it. The humiliation, the spitting, the beating, the nailing to the cross. You got to do it. It's tough. I know. It's tough. Oh, back to the death thing. If you don't know anybody that's died recently, or just show them. I mean, no, don't show them pictures of the piles of bodies at Auschwitz. That's a little much. Just show a dead person, it has to be graphic, because this gets to them. And then the passion of Christ is graphic. The resurrection of Christ is graphic. Show them the pictures in the children's Bible book. Look at Jesus coming out from the dead. Look at his white garments. Look at the surprised face on Mary Magdalene, the ex-prostitute. Oh, she used to be a prostitute. Now, don't tell them that part. Don't tell them that part. Just give them the straight scoop. And then because of that, all the human race is going to be saved. And for that, I'm not kidding you, they are ready for this. You go to Romans 5:18 and 19 and 1 Corinthians 15:23 and show them how Adam and Christ are the 2 most important human beings. Adam did one terrible thing for everybody. Christ did a wonderful thing for the same everybody. You notice, at this point, you have not even asked them to believe. You have not even asked them to say the sinner's prayer. You have not baptized them. You have not forced them to make a confession. You do not write down a sinner's prayer on a piece of paper. Obviously, you know that. You just tell them the story. And this happens for everyone. And you could add, my favorite phrase, whether you believe or not. This will impress your children. It will impress them. Whether you believe it or not, this is true. Wow. Adam and Christ, Adam and Christ, Adam and Christ, Adam and Christ. Not you, you notice, not you. Adam and Christ. I don't know, I guess you could tell them that death and the fear of death was necessary so that we could feel good for eternity. Yeah, I think they can handle it. How can we feel good for eternity? How can we be happy? How could Jesus, here it is, say this. How could Jesus be happy about being raised from the dead if he didn't die? How could Mary and Martha be happy about their brother? So happy, except when they got the funeral bill. How could they be happy unless they were sad? You have to be sad before you can be happy. Say that, yeah. And whoever wants to write this book for kids, put that in there. You have to be sad before you can be happy. Maybe that should be the title of the book. It's kind of awkward. I think we need to eliminate a few words there, but that's the idea. That is the idea. And then you say, believe this. Don't say, now you can't believe this unless God gives you faith. That's true, but I told you, don't go absolute. Not at this time. Wait till they're 3. No, not even that. Just tell them, believe this. Do you believe this? How can they not believe it? It's historical fact. You notice you're not doing the Christian trick. If you believe this, then Jesus will save you. No, remember, you've already established that Jesus Christ saved all people of all time because you've gone through Romans 5:18 and 19. Through one man, sin entered the world. Through one man, life comes to the world. Through one man, sin, one man, justification, one man, death, one man, life. They can get this. And then you just say, believe it. Don't even ask them if they believe it. Just tell them to believe it. That's what I would do. Believe this. See, you can't be wishy-washy about it. Now, you think about this for a couple of days. No. Tell them to believe it. And when they do, guess what? They have Aeonian life. You've brought them the evangel of the grace of God. You've dealt with the death of Christ. They've got that. Oh, and I guess, yes, okay, you have to say this. You have to say that because you are dying, Susie or Jimmy or what do they name kids nowadays? Kaylee? Busby? Do they name boys Busby today? Listen here, Busby. You cannot rescue yourself from death. Yes, you have to put in the helplessness. This goes back to Adam and Christ, and not you. Well, why don't you mention my name? I'm Busby. Can't I do anything? No, Busby, you can't do anything. For one thing, you're 2 years old. How can you rescue yourself from death? You are helpless. Jesus Christ did it all. Mention the word all a lot. Jesus Christ did it all. Jesus Christ did it all when he died on the cross and raised from the dead. Happy day. He did it all. And then you can go to 1 Corinthians 15:28. God will become all in all. See, all these simple words. Death, life, resurrection, Adam, Christ, all. Busby is weak. Busby is helpless. Busby can't raise himself from the dead. Busby can't even control his bodily functions yet. So this needs to be emphasized to Busby and to Kaylee. So there you have it. And don't wait till tomorrow. Well, all right, wait. At the latest tomorrow. But I prefer you do this today.